Welcome to Jurassic World.
Good morning, guests. Welcome to the Jurassic World Minute, where we visit Jurassic World 1 minute at a time. No pigs were harmed during the portion of this film. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And today we're here to discuss minute 19 of Jurassic World. But before we get to that, David, the gears have been turning over at Jurassic-Pedia.com with a fantastic article you wrote up there, looking at the original Tyrannosaur marquee, which we discussed in the June issue of Jurassic Minutes. And also, we have a full costume guide up now for the eco-terrorist himself, Nick Van Owen.
Yeah, this one was greatly assisted by Rimo on the replica prop form. He also creates a fantastic cryo-can replica and had been helping Chronicle with input on their replica, I think, when they first started out. This one was... Nick Van Owen was one that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, him and Eddie Carr both. But I wasn't really sure where to start, and so Rimo kind of kicked it off for me by IDing the vest and some of the other little items in here, like his watch and stuff. So we got the vest. It was like a lot of other items in this movie supplied by Willis and Geiger. It's a Bush Poplin photojournalist vest. T-shirt. It does have kind of this unique collar that Rimo identified, but for now, just for cosplay purposes and getting the article out there, I just put basic olive drab T-shirt. The pants are unique and strangely hard to identify. I put a TBD on this one because I don't know. They look like these kind of cotton twill military style cargo pants, but the front hand warmer pockets have a flap. Have a button snap closure flap, but unlike most of the pants that I could find, the flaps are facing backwards in the opposite direction that they are shown in most of the ones that I found. And so I just kind of put up the ones that were by H&M and put a TBD on those. Belt, it is what it is. The boots, again, Willis and Geiger hiking boots. And then, of course, we got the accessories. So I'm like the watch, it's a Swiss Army watch, tattoo, cameras that have already been identified. And then I identified something myself. The bolt cutters that he had are 14-inch Tecton bolt cutters. The thing that tripped me up was that I'd been thinking that the handles were removable. They're not. It's just that he's removing the rubber grips on the handles to kind of make them easier to slip in and out of the inside pocket on his vest.
Yeah, I questioned that when you started posting these photos up on the Pedia discussion group, and had to go and look at that scene again, because I assumed if these were the bolt cutters, and maybe he'd customised them so they were easier to store in his top pocket and be able to break them down. But no, he just slides the plastic grips off.
Mm-hmm. They're the identifying features that really point them out as Tecton is that there's the two knobs on the side of the handle for adjustment, and then you got the big flat bar across the teeth that say Tecton.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see it in the movie because of it's in the shadow, but that's where you can see it. You can see the same exact shape on the actual prop itself.
Yeah, yep. And we got a tattoo here too. Is that Nick Van Owen or is that
No, that's Nick. That's that's you can see it in the trailer scene when him and Sarah are messing with the baby T-Rex. It's on the inside left forearm, right just below his elbow.
Yeah, so that's a character thing and not the actor had a tattoo that they never covered up.
I assume it was a character thing because I've seen Vince Vaughn in other movies and I've never seen him have this tattoo.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn, that's it. Blank there, but yeah, no, good point. I wonder who'd know about that. Do we know in the community?
Not sure. I know it's been pointed out before. I can't remember by who. That both Nick Van Owen and Ian Malcolm have tattoos on their arms, but yeah.
No, I just looking at the photos at the top here of the vest and that, I'm thinking, oh, this should be a nice, easy one to replicate the costume, and then you scroll down and see that Wilson Geiger name and go, oh shit. Damn you, Hammond, and your expensive stuff.
Well, exactly. It's not that it's hard to find; it's that it's expensive.
Yeah.
And in the last couple of years, and I don't know if this is just my my fault and other cosplayers for identifying this stuff, or if it's just the stuff's becoming rarer. But I've noticed Willis and Geiger products becoming more and more expensive. Like I bought my Roland jacket for I think $40-50, but now they go twice to 3 times as much.
Wow. I'm going to say it's demand from the fans. They're doing it. So yeah, great costume guide there for Nick Van Owen. Again, I'd really love to see him return to the franchise while we can, but we'll see what happens there. Head over to Jurassic-Pedia.com, check that out, and check out a lot of new stuff that's going up there weekly.
Think it'll scare the kids?
The kids? This will give the parents nightmares.
Is that good?
It's fantastic.
While we're over at Jurassic-Pedia, article up there by Claw from 2015 on the character of Owen Grady, employed as a velociraptor trainer on Isla Nublar, part of the Ibris project. We're going to get to that next minute, but ex-military, we've discussed before how this seems to be a bit of that John Sayles script leaking through. And the military man on the island, we're just getting the start of his character now. There's a lot more to discuss about him as we continue on. His role, his employment by InGen, and just how does a Navy man go to training velociraptors?
Well, I think he says that he was in the Navy in Jurassic World later on, but I know that the Lego game kind of gave him a little bit more backstory, saying that he was part of the Navy's experimental program to train dolphins to place mines on the bottoms of ships. So that would I don't know if that's canon, but I kind of consider it to be myself. So just because it would make more sense why he would be hired for the project that would try to train velociraptors. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And that,
I mean, dolphins, velociraptors, both very intelligent, very willful, can be both very violent animals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody likes to think, oh, dolphins are so cute, they're so sweet. Dolphins aren't sweet. They're nasty little bastards.
You think they're talking to each other when they're making those noises? No, they're laughing at you.
They're not just laughing at you. They're thinking of horrible and violent ways to kill you. They're violent. They're like swimming chimpanzees or even swimming humans. They're just very violent creatures. They will torture their prey before killing it. They do.
Yeah, and you bring up the Lego games, the Lego TV stuff we've seen so far. He has a really well trained dog that he has on the island with him in there as well. So That does make the most sense that he has got some previous animal training before. It's a shame we don't get a little bit more of that when we're getting him with the baby blue and stuff in Fallen Kingdom on those videos. But anyway.
Well, that, like we're going to talk in the next minute, some of the stuff with the Ibris project does bring up some very interesting ideas and implications.
Yep. So, yeah, bit of a long article here going through sort of his whole role in the film, which we're about to see. A little bit about the prior events, but of course, if you want to look at all that stuff, the Ibris Project article would be the one to go, and we'll talk about that next minute. Leaving Jurassic-Pedia.com and heading over to IMDb, we have the article up here for Chris Pratt playing Owen. I nearly said Star-Lord. Damn it.
Yes.
Where's the film list here? I don't know if these are going to be in order. I'm trying to wrap my brain around whether or not I knew him before this, because I know Guardians of the Galaxy come out the year before, so that's probably my first Chris Pratt awareness year, and then straight into Jurassic World the year after.
I knew of him. Like, I knew he was in Parks and Recreations, even though I'd never seen it. And I knew he was in Zero Dark 30 because I had seen that, which was, I think, an Iraq War movie. But I'd never really paid much attention to him as an actor before Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, the only stuff I knew going into relating to him into Jurassic World was those fans that were commenting on how, I'm not even going to say overweight, how not as athletic as he was in Parks and Rec, and now he seems to have got into shape for Guardians and Jurassic World and that, where...
Oh yeah, he used to be chubby. I can't remember what it's for, but there's a video of Chris Pratt kind of trolling. He's taking the place of Obi-Wan in the Darth Vader duel in A New Hope, and he's just kind of screwing with Darth Vader the whole time, and it's really funny. My mom never even knew the video existed, so I looked at it and I just watched it. It's really, really funny. Watch it if you've never watched it.
I think I need to check that out. Well, that sort of goes off his appearance in Guardians and as Emmett in the Lego movie, sort of more of that comedic thing, and that may be where I was seeing his character sort of go in Jurassic World, and he does have some lines. We're going to see some of that coming up. But he also, the serious stuff too, I think he nails a lot better than the comedy. But that might be just the script, and we'll get to those scenes when we get to them. But
yeah, I just looked it up. It was for the Xbox Connect. It was 2012 commercial that he did.
Yep.
Here it is. It's on his IMDb too. Connect Star Wars Duel TV movie.
Nice. And looking at it too, he returned to Parks and Rec for a special this year.
Really? Oh yeah, there's the reunion special they did.
Yeah. He's got a couple of projects, post-production that now, of course, Minions filming, and Guardians 3 coming up in a couple of years' time. So whether Star-Lord's going to continue for a while in Marvel, don't know, but we do get to see him. We'll see his outing one more time as Owen Grady coming up next year.
Around 2010.
Passengers?
What?
Oh no, earlier. 2010.
Moneyball? No, it was, what was that Curve the Bullet movie?
Oh, Wanted.
Was it Wanted?
Wanted or Salt? It's one of those. I know Angelina's in both of them.
Yeah, but it was Wanted, yeah. He was in Wanted, and I remember watching it, and it's got young Chris Pratt and young Professor Xavier, what's his name?
Patrick
Glass. What?
Oh, the other one. McAvoy.
Yeah, it has a young James McAvoy in it. It's kind of funny because you're in it to watch young James McAvoy, but then Chris Pratt shows up in and out of the movie multiple times, and he plays McAvoy's ex-best friend, screwing his girlfriend, or should I say ex-girlfriend. And it's funny because, I mean, he's kind of big, and he's kind of dopey looking, but he's like, oh my god, it's Chris Pratt. And you're watching it, it's like, you do not expect Chris Pratt to show up in this movie. Because it just does not seem like a movie Chris Pratt would show up in.
Yeah.
Now when you think of Chris Pratt now, it doesn't seem like a movie he'd show up in.
Yep.
Now that he's kind of become this goofy action hero.
Yeah, and I've closed the IMDb site down now, but I'm sure there's some stuff from the early 2000s and that, maybe not Disney Channel stuff, but sort of lower budgeted films that he probably had an appearance in as well.
Are you still building?
We planned to open in May, but asset containment insisted we build the walls up higher. It's bigger than expected.
Alright, Dave, we got minute 19 to get it to. Ready to go?
Yeah.
As we enter minute 18 of Jurassic World, Simon asks Claire, "The paddock's quite safe then?" Claire slowly nodded, says, "We have the best structural engineers in the world." And Masrani retorts, "Yes, so did Hammond." As we open on minute 19, Masrani says, "There's an American Navy man here, part of one of my research teams, Owen Grady." Claire reluctantly says, "I know who he is." At the 11-second mark, Masrani continues, "His animals often try to escape. They're smart. He needs to be smarter." Claire smirks. He thinks he's smarter. At the 20-second mark, seeing past Claire's sarcasm, Masrani continues, "I want you to bring him in. Let him see the paddock. Maybe he sees something we can't." At the 27-second mark, we cut the dense jungle as beams of sunlight penetrate the canopy. Birds call, and insects can be heard in the jungle. The quiet is disturbed by a pig squealing as it runs along the trackway. Several seconds later, we cut to the feet of a velociraptor, giving chase close behind. At the 40-second mark, the pig comes out into a clearing and runs across a small compound. As we cut back to the raptor, we hear someone yell "hold," and the raptor skids to a stop. At the 46-second mark, we cut back to the pig as it's found a small gateway in the wall of the compound and makes its escape. We get a slow pan up the legs of the velociraptor and get our first look at Blue, Delta, Echo and Charlie. And as the minute ends, we pan up onto a catwalk with Owen Grady yelling out to his raptors, "Okay, let's move," and clicking his clicker.
As we open minute 19, Masrani pauses and slowly walks past the observation windows, and he says to Claire, "There's a military man here, part of a research program one of my companies is running, Owen Grady." And the whole time we're on Claire, she knows where this conversation's going, and so when Owen's name is mentioned, we get the sigh, which I suppose, well, we're going to get to it real quick, but I'd never assumed relationship thing.
Well, it really wasn't, as Owen points out later in the date, as they both kind of point out later in the movie. It was one date that Owen showed up to in swimwear or shorts.
Yeah, I'd have to rewatch the scene again, but yeah, it seemed like he was brought onto the project, and when he first got there, he's seen her and gone for the date, done the romantic thing, and she realised that was never going to happen. But she says, "I know who he is," and she sort of tries to compose herself a little bit, and we get an interesting line here from Masrani, which I wish was brought up later in the film, but his animals often try to escape. They're smart. He has to be smarter. I wish we'd seen the raptors trying to escape or something. Mm-hmm. It'd probably bring him back to being more wild or villainous than what they are, especially if what we see coming up. He's going to train them. Hoskins thinks, "Oh, that's great." He has this little side comment of, "You're here on a good day," and then after that, it's all, "Let's get these raptors out and see what they can do." Except for Masrani, so maybe it's just a little line that again reminding you how smart the raptors are, but yeah, I don't think we really see it in the film.
No, we do see it when that guy they pull into the cage. And we'll talk more. We'll kind of break down that scene when we get to that minute, because there's some interesting pack dynamic going on in that minute.
Yeah, which interestingly, that character's name is Leon. He's not mentioned in the film at all. I just noticed that before we were at the Pedia for Owen. But Claire sort of jokes. He thinks he's smarter, which okay. Masrani's partly shocked at the comment, but continues, I want you to bring him in, let him inspect the paddock. Maybe he sees something we can't. Because, of course, we had that line at the end of the last minute that even Hammond, or even when they have the best engineers in the world, so did Hammond, and things still went wrong. So, but I sort of love this shot of Masrani sort of silhouetted by the large windows too. Again, sort of a reminder of how very small we are in this environment.
Mr. Masrani, we'll see you now.
Yeah.
I remember that joke being made because at the time, the two movies were being made. I think at the time, 50 Shades of Grey poster just came out with the silhouette of Mr. Grey in the office building, and all you see is his back in silhouette, and it's titled "Mr. Grey, We'll See You Now." So I remember, I think they spoofed that when this first came out.
Well, that sort of brings up something I haven't discussed last minute. When we were talking about the broken glass and me expecting a jump scare there, we had that poster of Claire on one side of the glass window and the Indominus on the other, sort of looking at each other both. And a lot of people were commenting about how they're both in white and polar opposites or that sort of thing in that movie poster, where that's probably where I thought that maybe there was a scene of the Indominus attacking or trying to get to Claire there. But that's the end of the Indominus enclosure in Paddock 11 for the moment. Anything else we've missed before we head over to the other side of the aisle?
No, I think we're good.
We now jump into the, once again, geological inaccurate issue with Jurassic World as we get a cut to a jungle canopy, birds and insect noises. There's a kookaburra in here, I can clearly hear it, so I thought they were only native to Australia. I don't know. But
I did not realize there was a kookaburra, but in retrospect, they probably just took a bunch of random jungle animal noises and placed it in the scene.
Yeah. We get a great shot here too of the sun sending those shafts of light through the canopy.
But where is that coming from? Because the wider open shots, and even the kind of aerial overhead shot that we see of this area later at the end of the scene, it doesn't really have a heavily forested area like this. So, you know?
With the way the enclosure's set up, you'd be able to see one wall from the other wall. There's some ferns in the middle.
Yeah.
We've joked about it before, and we're going to get to it later with that T-Rex Kingdom. Exactly the same, where aerial shots and some set shots are not lining up with what we see in enclosure.
Well, the other thing is this was a full set built, I think, on old NASA property that they just built in the parking lot out of these Connex boxes. And so that's this is the whole sets here. It's not just one corner of it like it is with the Indominus. And then I guess they just superimposed the wide shots of it onto Kauai. But yeah, this was a whole full set they built.
Yeah, and again using those shipping containers as walls. We had the raptors chewing through bars in the first novel, and they're not awfully thick walled containers, but we're going to see more of the enclosure. Oh, you want to say
But at the same time, they might be just enough to kind of handle the raptors' needs, you know?
Well, they're being trained, whether this is just a training area, whether they have a bigger enclosure, we don't see that in the film at all. We only see smaller cages. The catwalks around the entire perimeter, you can see where these animals are at all times in this enclosure going off the set. It's not like the original holding pen for the raptors. So I'm sure if they started, if two were standing by the wall and the other two were trying to distract them, I'm sure the guards would see that something's going on here. They're trying to escape. Even the height of the catwalks that span the middle are somewhat concerning with how far we know that the raptors can leap upwards in the first two novels too. But again, something we've never seen in the films, sadly.
Looking ahead, just at the design of the whole thing itself, it is interesting because it looks like the top, the one side of the Connex box octagon is not completely finished, but I can't tell if it's like the actual side of it is gone and they have a larger pen for these animals, or if it's just the that one wall is just so covered in foliage that you can't really see it. You know.
Is that
we'll
the concept?
Talk more about it. What's that?
Is that the concept art or the set photos?
No, I'm looking at the actual scene here.
Oh, yep.
When we get the camera pull all the way out at the very end of the scene.
Okay, yep. Because it is a small space for 4 raptors, really.
I mean, it is, and it would make sense if there was more to it, but I don't see any other fencing is the problem.
Well,
I don't see any fencing going off from this point.
Yeah, yep. And you'd think that'd be a bit easier to see on the map too, if there was. Yeah. Although this is sort of off in its own area, I don't think there isn't a logo on the map for the raptor pen anyway, is there? I can't recall.
No, I don't think there is, because it's kind of considered just R&D. I don't think they actually consider it part of the park.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like the Indominus enclosure where it's a planned part of the park. Masrani even says it later in the movie, there's no raptors going to be loose on this island.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. Yep. He's heard the stories. He's smart.
Yeah, I don't think he is at all keen to make the same mistakes Hammond did.
Yeah. And just cutting back to this jungle here, this really screams Jurassic Park 3 to me. Just the vines, and knowing that sort of stuff. This is probably shot on Kauai. This Kauai Ranch.
I remember these shots of these trees being one of the teaser images Trevorrow posted way back when.
Yeah. And it's funny, recently Jurassic Outpost had an interview there with the director of photography for Jurassic Park 3, and he was commenting about how hard it is to get these light shafts actually using water to disperse the light and not smoke or anything else, because you need multiple light sources to have multiple shafts of light like this. But the calm is ripped away by a squealing pig, and someone that works in a piggery, abattoirs. They are quite loud, and it's running along a small path here, a well-trodden path. The camera follows for a moment until we see Raptor's legs running fast behind it, giving chase, and we start to get this new score here. It's not as tense a theme or anything, but it's here for this pig chase anyway. And that's when we cut up high on the enclosure walls as the pig runs out into clearing, still squealing. And you can clearly see here where the pig just come from. There's like 5 ferns. Again, this whole what's going on here. But as a single raptor emerges from the foliage, and the camera drops down to ground level, and we get the male voice yell "hold," and the raptor stops in its tracks, sliding to a stop in the dead leaves and dirt. We get a quick cut to the enclosure wall as the pig escapes out a trapdoor, which slides shut behind it. And this sort of shows how tame this film's going to be with no pig death here.
One thing I do like that they returned to was something they did in Jurassic Park was when the first raptor enters the kitchen and is stalking Lex and Tim, you see a close-up on the foot, and she taps the claw on the ground, and then the other raptor comes up. And they do the same thing here. Blue taps her big claw on the ground, and the other raptors come up and flank her.
Well, it's something we see in Fallen Kingdom with the Indoraptor, and people are sort of commenting there, well, that must be a raptor trait, completely forgetting that, yes, we see it here in this film as well. The raptor's doing it.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, it could be a raptor trait in the sense that it's something the Indoraptor was instinctively doing and trying to call for others of its kind, not realizing it is the only one of its kind currently on Earth. Yeah.
But the pig escapes out of a trapdoor here, which makes me wonder how often this pig has to do this run and escape, knowing exactly where to go. In the novel, we get a bit of a different explanation, which I thought would have been a bit better to see, but we had the goat killed in Jurassic Park, the Lost World killed the dog, damn you Spielberg, and it would show that raptors being more than just sort of trained golden retrievers here by actually getting the pig. But we do hear Owen yell out hold to stop them in their tracks before they have a chance to get to it. So, but yeah, we cut back, and as you said, that's Tapeter's Clo. Not done that. We get the camera start to slowly rise up the legs behind the other three raptors. Sort of arrive on the scene. Were they chasing the pig as well? Were they coming in from the sides? I don't. This enclosure doesn't have enough room for this, but they could have been waiting to set the trap too. We see they then try and do the same thing with Owen later when he goes in there. So, and this is where we get our full first look at Blue the raptor, Queen Blue to some, and
among the others.
Yeah, Delta Echo Charlie.
Yeah, there was Blue, Delta Echo, and Charlie. I think that was it. But I do want to take a quick moment to kind of point out some interesting design features of these four